بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Math grade 6. We are in chapter 5, lesson 1. Today we want to learn integers and graphing. Integers and graphing. Today we want to learn integers and graphing. In this lesson we want to use integers to represent real world situation. So what's the meaning of integers? What's the meaning of integers? I want from all to see this video and focus on the idea in this video very well. And after the video I will ask you some questions.
Okay, Mr.
What up, everybody? Back again here with our negative number unit. Today we're looking at negative numbers in real life, part 1. So let's dive under the water and see what our objective is today. Our objective today I will be able to represent positive and negative numbers in real world context and explain the meaning of zero in each situation. So let's get started with our math vocabulary. Our math vocabulary today. Today we're talking about temperature and elevation. Now, most of you know what temperature is. Temperature is the measure of heat in an object, and it's measured in degrees. That's a non-scientific definition of that word, but it will work for us. And elevation is the height of an object above or below sea level. And we'll look at that in just a second. But let's start with temperature. A couple things that are going to be important about temperature questions. Okay, so temperature can be measured in Celsius. Celsius is the metric measurement for temperature. Basically, anywhere other than the United States and a couple other countries, they're going to measure the temperature in Celsius, or you can measure it in Fahrenheit, which is always a fun word to try to spell. Now, here's the key things about how the number lines work for temperature. As you get warmer, you move up the number line, right? And as you move colder, you move down the number line. And I like to use a vertical number line for these because it looks like the thermometer, right? And you also have the medical thermometer that might be digital that you can see right here. But typically when you look at thermometers, you're going to see the ones that go up and down. It has the red line of mercury moving up and down. They probably don't make it out of mercury anymore, but that's okay. All right. If you look at these, you'll notice that they have the same intervals, but this is different than the ones we did last lesson. Instead of counting by 1 in each dash or mark on the number line equaling 1 unit, they all equal 10 units now. Okay. And even though they measure temperature, and even though they both measure it in degrees, so you could say 40 degrees or 40 degrees, 40 degrees in Celsius is much different than 40 degrees in Fahrenheit. So let's start by looking at 0. For 0 degrees Celsius, and this is why most of the world uses it, when you're at 0, this is your freezing temperature, okay? And so if it was 0 degrees Celsius, that's when the rain would start turning into snow, or the water would start freezing into an ice cube. For Fahrenheit, it's in between 30 and 40 over here is the freezing point, okay? And so if you're below freezing, you could be at 20 degrees, which would be below freezing, but that's not quite at 0. If you get to 0 for Fahrenheit, this is when your nose hair starts to freeze when you're breathing in through your nose. Okay, I lived in Chicago for a while, and it gets so cold when you breathe in through your nose, literally your boogers and nose hairs would freeze inside your nose. So these number lines measure it a little bit differently. Celsius, of course, makes more sense because if you're below 0, that means you're freezing. But it's important to have a little bit of background knowledge for the questions you might see throughout this unit. Now that we've covered a little bit about temperature, let's move on to elevation. Okay, so here is a picture of the sea. Now, when you talk about elevation, and you might not have heard this before, but you're referring to 0 being the average height of the sea, okay? And so I don't even know how they figure it out. It's probably like every 5 years they take all the averages of where the sea is, and they calibrate that to being 0. So when you hear something like Mount Everest being, I don't know, 5 miles tall, that's 5 miles above sea level. Okay, this is where they start counting. When you talk about swimming 10 feet under the water, right, that's 10 feet below sea level. So when you're talking about elevation, 0 can be referred to as sea level, right? So if you look right here at the shark, it's at negative 80 feet. So if you're talking about elevation, you could say negative 80, or you could say 80 feet below sea level. There's two different ways to say negative when you're talking about elevation. If you wanted to say positive 80, you could just say that the ship was 80 feet tall, right? Or you could say it was 80 feet above sea level. So when you're talking about elevation, 0 is represented by sea level. Let's take a look at an I do problem. So our I do problem is about temperature. It says it is currently 64 degrees Fahrenheit in North Carolina and negative 5 degrees Fahrenheit in Antarctica. Where is it warmer? And so first of all, I'm going to do my sides check. I'm going to say it is warmer blank. All right. And we talked about our temperature and our number line. The further you move up the number line, the warmer it is, and the further you move down the number line, the colder it is, right? So North Carolina is above 0 and Antarctica is below 0, which means North Carolina is further up the number line. So we're going to say it is warmer in North Carolina. I'm just going to put NC for that. So again, thinking about how temperature works, if you are further up, you're warmer. If you're further down, you're colder. Our we do problem says use an integer or a whole number that's either negative or positive, or it could be 0, to represent 40 feet below sea level. Use an integer to represent 40 feet above sea level and place them on the number line. So the first thing I want to do is I want to write down my integers. If I want to go 40 feet below sea level, I know that that's going to be a negative number. So I need to say negative 40 because I want to go 40 feet below 0, taking me into my negatives. My negative sign is the direction that I'm moving away from 0. Then it says use an integer to represent 40 feet above sea level. And again, above sea level is going to refer to the positive numbers on my number line. And so I'm just going to write a 40. I don't need to write the positive sign because if it's not negative, then we make the inference that it's positive. That's a math convention that we talked about in our first negative number lesson. Now we need to place them on the number line. So I'm going to start at 0. My negative 40 tells me I'm going to be moving away from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. So right here is going to be my negative 40. And then I want to put positive 40 on there, which means I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to move up the number line, 10, 20, 30, 40. And now I've put both of those integers on my number line. Thank you so much for checking us out today. Really, all we want to do is give you some examples and give you some background knowledge that some of us don't have when referring to real-life examples of using negative numbers. This knowledge is going to come in handy throughout the rest of our unit. We hope you'll join us for those.
So, from this video, what is the name of our lesson today?
Integers, temperatures, and
Great.
internals and graphics.
Graphing.
Numbers and graphics.
And graphing. Integers and graphing. So, what's the meaning of integers? What's the meaning of integers?
Positive and negative number.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So integers mean 0 and positive numbers and negative numbers. Integers means 0 and positive numbers and negative numbers. So what's the meaning of positive numbers? What's the meaning of positive numbers?
Above the 0.
Numbers above 0.
Excellent, excellent. So positive numbers are the numbers greater than 0. The numbers greater than 0. So what's the meaning of negative numbers? What's the meaning of negative?
Less than 0.
Great. So the numbers are less than 0. The numbers are less than 0. Always the negative numbers, we write minus before the number, like -1, -2, -3. When you see minus before any number, means the number here negative, and the value of this number less than 0. The value of this number less than 0. But the positive number, we can write plus or keep the same whole number. So when you see any number with sign positive or without sign positive, means we have positive number, and the number here, the value of the number here greater than 0. Now my question, 0 between positive and negative, and if we have negative numbers and 0 and positive numbers, means we have integers, My question now, which greater, the 0 or the positive number?
Positive number.
Positive number.
Great. Why?
Because it's above.
Excellent, because the positive
Any
number
positive number greater than 0.
greater than 0. Great. The question now, which greater, negative number or 0?
0.
Negative number. 0 greater than negative number, because the negative number, the value of the negative number less than 0. طيب, which greater, the positive number or the negative number?
Positive number.
Excellent. Greater than negative number. So if I write or if I say, which greater, -2 or 2?
2.
Excellent. In the positive number, in the part of positive numbers, when the number increase, means the value of number increase. But in the negative numbers, when the number increase, means the value of the number decrease. I mean, when the distance in the positive side, when the distance increase, the value of the number will be increase. But in the negative side, when the distance between 0 and any number will be increase, the value of this number will be decrease. For example, if we have 3 and 5, 5 greater than 3, because the distance of 5 then from 0 greater than the distance of 3 from 0. But in the negative side, if I say -3 and -7, -3 greater than -7, -3 greater than -7, because in the negative side, when the distance from 0 increase, the value of the number will be decrease. Right, listen to me now. What's the meaning of integers? Integers means positive whole numbers, and their opposites means negative and 0. Look to this set. On the middle here we have 0. The right side we have 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. The positive numbers. And in the left side we have -1, -2, -3, -4, etc. to the infinity. So to the right means the numbers greater than 0. To the left means the numbers less than 0. So to the right means we have positive numbers. To the left means we have negative numbers. So what's the meaning of negative integers? The data that are less than 0. It is written as a minus sign before the number. So when you see minus before any number, means this number will be what? Negative. So for example, -1, -2, -3, -4, etc. to the infinity. The name of this set will be what? Negative integers. Negative integers. What's the meaning of positive integers? The data that are greater than 0. The data that are greater than 0. For example, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. to the infinity. The name of this set will be positive integers. If I want to represent the integers, draw number line on the middle with 0. The right side, the numbers are greater than 0, the positive numbers. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the infinity. Here, the right side means positive numbers. And the left side means the numbers are less than 0. And we write minus sign before the number. Look, for example, -1, -2, -3, -4, etc. to the infinity. Now, any positive number greater than 0 and any negative number less than 0 and any positive number greater than any negative number. And here we have rule in the number line. In the positive side, when the distance from 0 increase, the value of the number will be increased. For example, which greater, 1 or 3? 3 greater than 1, because the distance of 3 from 0 greater than the distance of 1 from 0. From 0 to 1, the distance will be 1, and from 0 to 3, the distance will be 3. So I can say 3 greater than 1 in the positive side. But in the negative side, we have the opposite idea. When the distance increase, the value of the number will be decreased. So -1 greater than -3, or -1 greater than -2, or -1 greater than -4, etc. Because in the negative side, when the distance increase, the value of the number will be decreased. The value of the number will be decreased. Who has any question here? Clear for all? Okay. Here we have example. Write an integer for each situation, then explain the meaning of 0 in each situation. Example A, we have 12 feet below sea level. Below sea level. Below means under 0. Under 0, because the sea level means 0. Up sea level means we have positive numbers. Below or down sea level means we have negative numbers. So 12 here means -12. -12. The integer 0 here represents something that is at sea level. Exercise B, winning 3 tokens in a game. Winning means 3 positive. So I write here 3. The integers 0 represent winning, no takens. Number C here, the price of a stock dropping $2. So dropping means the price will be low. So -2, negative. Here we have -2. So the integer 0 represents the stock neither gaining nor losing value. The second example here, graph -2 on a number line. The first step, draw the number line, put on the middle the 0. The right side means positive, the left side means negative. So when you see here minus before any number means we have negative. So go to the right side, to the negative side. This is -1, this is -2, so put here point. This is -2, this is -2. The third example here, graph the set of integers. We have -3, 1, and 0. So on a number line. So draw number line. Put the 0 on the middle. 0 means put here point on the 0. Then here we have 1, 1 means positive. Positive on the right side. So this is 1, put here point. Then here we have minus 3. Minus means negative. So go to the negative side. This is minus 1, minus 2. This is minus 3. So put here point. Put here point. Okay. Who has any question here?
No one.
Great. So our lesson today, integers and graphing. And the question now, write an integer for each situation. The first exercise here, a $5 discount. Type, what's the meaning of discount? Positive number here or negative number?
Negative.
Excellent. So
Negative.
minus 5. Great. The second example, a growth of 2 centimeters. A growth. So 2 positive number or negative number?
What is positive?
Excellent. Positive.
Positive.
Right. Number 3.
Positive.
Okay. Number 3. Rise of 1,000 feet. Rise. We have rise. So means positive.
Positive.
Great. Number 4. Loss of 6 pounds.
Negative.
-6.
Negative.
Excellent. So here minus 6. Price drop. Price drop of $12.
Negative.
So we have minus 12. Excellent. Fine. Pay rise of $1 per hour. Rise.
Positive.
Positive.
We have rise. Means positive. Number 7 here. Loss.
Negative.
Five.
Negative.
Loss means
Negative.
Positive.
loss means
صح. Positive.
طيب.
إيجابي.
Decrease of 11. Decrease. Positive or
Negative.
negative? Excellent.
Increase.
نقص. Decrease يعني نقص. عكس increase. Increase زاد. Decrease يعني نقص. الربح الزيادة الارتفاع يعني positive. الخسارة النقصان الانخفاض يعني negative. طيب. Of 13 centimeters. Increase.
Positive.
Excellent. Right. Gain of 6 yards. Gain.
Positive.
Great. Who has any question here? From 1 to the 10 exercises here. Who has any question here?
Easy, Mr. Easy.
Okay. The question now, graph each set of integers on a number line. طيب. You have 4 positive. Go to the positive side. This is 1, 2, 3. This is 4. So put here point.
Yes.
Then here we have 0. This is 0. So put here point. Then here we have minus 2. This is minus 1. This is minus 2. So put here point. Number 12. Here we have 7. So go to the positive side to the right. This is 7. Put here point. Here we have minus 3. Means negative. Go to the negative side. Put here minus 3. Here we have minus 1. This is minus 1. Do you have any question here? Okay, great. Now, here we have 5. Go to the positive side. Then minus 5. Negative. Go to the negative side. Then minus 6 negative. Here. Then we have 2. This is 2. Here you have minus 8. This is minus 8. Minus 7. minus 4, and here we have 1. Who has any question here?
No one.
Great. Minus 11. Here we have minus 10, here we have minus 12. Between them, here we have minus 11. Minus 7. Here we have minus 8, minus 6. Between them, here we have minus 7. Then here we have 3. 3 between 2 and 4. Then we have 6. This is 6. Minus 10. And here we have minus 9, minus 10, minus 11, minus 12. So minus 10 will be here. Then minus 8. We have here minus 6, minus 7, minus 8. So minus 8 will be here. Minus 14. Here we have minus 12. Minus 13, minus 14. Then here we have 8, 6, 7, 8. So 8 will be here. Who has any question here?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, tell me.
Mister, this lesson is
Speak in
chapter
Arabic.
5.
Chapter 5, the first lesson in chapter 5.
Okay, Mister. Somebody's giving me mute.
Who has any question here?
Mister, we will make revision for chapter 3.
Chapter 4. Chapter 4.
Okay.
The quiz, the math quiz, just on.
Mister, when is the quiz for chapter 4?
The homework of Wednesday and Thursday, this is the revision. I will send it again today, inshallah. And the quiz will be on Tuesday, on next Tuesday, inshallah. Okay?
Okay, Mister, when is the quiz?
On Tuesday. الثلاثة الجاي إن شاء الله. الكويز الثلاثة الجاي. يعني اليوم الأحد، بكرة الاثنين، الثلاثة. تمام؟
ثلاثة ولا 3 أسبوع اليوم؟
In the same math period. نعم. مين له سؤال؟ طيب. سؤالي أنا. Suppose here we have 7 and minus 7. Which greater?
7. Because it's positive and marked. Greatest.
7 greater than minus 7. 7 greater than minus 7. So,
Mister, you put for the 7 less than, greater than.
Greater than minus 7 or minus 7 less than 7. Okay? طيب. The direct of the sign always to the big number. To the big number. طيب. Suppose we have here 0 and 5. Which greater, 0 or 5?
5.
Great. Why? Why 5 greater than 0?
Because it's above.
There is no number.
Above.
Because the positive number greater than 0. The positive number greater than 0. طيب. The question now, suppose we have here minus 1000 and we have 0. Which is greater?
0. It's greater. 0.
Excellent. 0 greater than 1000. Why?
Because there is minus.
Because the negative number less than
Negative is
0.
less than 0.
Excellent. طيب. Suppose we have now minus 2 and minus 10. Which is greater?
2. Minus 2. Minus 2.
Minus 2 greater than minus 10. Minus 2 greater than minus 10. because in the negative side, when the distance between number and 0 increase, the value of the number will be what? Will be decrease. The value of the number will be decrease. إذا نحن بالقسم الموجب بالبوزيتيف نمبر، البوزيتيف نمبر يعني الموجب بالعربي، كل ما بعدنا عن الصفر كل ما كبرت قيمة العدد. فأنا إذا قلت 5 و9 راح تقول لي 9 أكبر. فلاحظ كل ما بعدنا عن الصفر تكبر قيمة العدد. أما بالنيجاتيف سايد، النيجاتيف سايد يعني بنسميه بالعربي القسم السالب، كل ما بعدنا عن الصفر قيمة العدد بتصغر. كل ما بعدنا عن الصفر قيمة العدد بتصغر. يعني أنا إذا قلت الآن -5 و-9 راح تقول لي -5 أكبر. -5 أكبر لأنه كل ما قربنا من الصفر تكبر قيمة العدد، وكل ما بعدنا عن الصفر تصغر قيمة العدد. هذا الكلام وين؟ في النيجاتيف سايد. في النيجاتيف سايد كل ما قربنا من الصفر تكبر قيمة العدد، كل ما بعدنا عن الصفر تصغر قيمة العدد. تمام شباب؟
تمام أستاذ.
طيب مين له أي سؤال؟ مين له أي سؤال؟
No one مستر.
طيب خلينا ناخذ
هذا
التفصيل.
موجب وسالب.
موجب وسالب. تمام. طيب بطي.
نعم أستاذ.
حمد علي.
نعم أستاذ.
حمدان.
نعم أستاذ.
خالد. دانيال.
أستاذ. نعم أستاذ.
سعيد.
نعم أستاذ.
طيب سلطان علي.
نعم أستاذ.
سلطان غازي. سلطان غازي. عامر.
نعم أستاذ.
عبد الله الحمادي.
نعم أستاذ.
عبد الله راشد.
مستر يطلع اسمه يطلع.
يطلعنا. عبد الله محمد الجابري.
نعم مستر.
عبد الله مسعود. طيب عمر الشامسي. عمر أشرف. فلاح.
نعم أستاذ.
محمد أحمد الحمادي.
نعم أستاذ.
محمد سعيد السريحي.
نعم أستاذ.
محمد حمادة موجود. مطوع موجود. طيب معاذ. منصور علي.
أستاذ نقاطر.
منصور علي.
نعم أستاذ موجود.
تمام. Okay. Who has any question now? So this is our lesson today. Thank you for your listening. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.